I'm Gabi.
I'm Charlotte.
And this is the 2024 Kia EV9.
Let's take it for a ride.
Alright, before we get to know the ride, let's get to know the machine. This is the Land all-wheel drive with GT line package, making it the top trim available here in Canada. We're going to get all the bells and whistles, and here are my favorite. For our LED headlamps, you can see we also have an extension into the digitized grille, a lot of glossy black accents, front and rear parking sensors with a full 360 view camera, and boy oh boy, things get even better inside. Now when it comes to the actual performance and powertrain of this vehicle, you're going to get a 99.8 kilowatt hour lithium ion polymer battery with 379 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque. You're also going to get 435 kilometers of all-electric range.
Well, welcome to the interior of the Kia EV9, and I want to show you guys some of my favorite features. So new for this year, we have dual 12.3-inch screens with a dedicated climate cluster right here that is 5 inches. One of my favorite things is the fact that we also have new software, which means a wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so you can stream our podcast completely wirelessly. Shameless promo, I know. Some of my other favorite features have got to be isolated to the steering wheel too. Not only does it have a great design with illuminated center badging, it's also going to give you dedicated drive modes and terrain modes while still being fully heated for Canadian comfort. And if that's not enough for you, something I absolutely love that really enhances the driving and passenger experience has got to be all of the little design elements with the ambient lighting. It really is peppered all throughout this vehicle from the front to the back. There's tons going on and it makes it so much more fun. And if it's not just fun that you're looking for, but you also want tech and safety, don't worry, this vehicle definitely has it too. When it comes to safety features, you already know that we have full parking sensors throughout this vehicle and even a 360 camera, using all those cameras on the exterior to piece together these seamless pictures to make parking and driving a little bit more fun for you too, but only at your low speeds. When it comes for your comfort features, your seats are synthetic leather, and some people like to knock it, but I say don't knock it till you try it, because this seat for the driver is heated, ventilated, and has an integrated massager. Can it get any better than that? Trust me, it doesn't. Especially after I did such a long road trip in this car. Trust me, I needed that massage seat desperately. Now, that's not the only thing that we have is up here at the rear view mirror. We also have a digital rear view mirror, so if you thought that this car needed one more camera, don't worry, it's got it. And up top, we even have dual sunroofs. If you want something to make your cabin feel light and bright, let the air in, but keep the bugs out, you've got these beautiful sunroofs to make this a great experience to drive. All right, well, enough yapping about what this car has. Let's actually see it in action and actually go for a drive.
All right,
Let's go.
so first things first, this car actually weighs more than 5,000 pounds, Charlotte.
Oh!
It is a big machine. It's a 3-row all-electric SUV. That's something that most people don't account for. Oh, it's probably fun to drive, right?
Oh, definitely.
This car, it's actually a ton of fun, and it's a great people hauler. So a while back, a couple months ago actually, in the winter, we got invited to an EV9 ride and drive event where we were actually able to drive this vehicle through a slalom, so through a small road course, and really maneuver it through a lot of more advanced functions, things that you wouldn't exactly do on a roadway. And this car handles like a dream. Now, we're not doing that today. We're just doing some light city and country driving, but let me tell you, the low center of gravity on this car really plants it. You can feel it. There's not a lot of body roll. It handles quite nicely, and you don't feel like you're driving a vehicle as heavy and as big as you really are.
That's what I was gonna ask you is, even though this is obviously a big, heavy vehicle, the steering still maintains that relatively light feeling.
It's sharp, yeah. It's light and it's sharp, and it changes based off the drive mode that you're in. So another thing I really do like about this car is the fact that it is so driver focused, and if you are in a family that has multiple drivers for one vehicle, you can actually create driver profiles to fine-tune everything to that preference of yours. So for instance, there's an eco mode, there's a normal mode, a sport mode, and even a customized drive mode where you can actually change where most of the vehicle is getting its power from, if it's going to be the front motor, rear motor, if the steering's going to feel light, if it's going to feel sporty. So it's really customizable, and even in its most default neutral setting, it's responsive, but it's not, I don't know, it's not overly stiff or anything.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
It hides its weight well, which is quite nice. There's a lot of other things I really do like about just the layout of the car, but I'll let you talk about that because our eyes are on the road right now.
Yeah, definitely. So obviously we showed you guys a lot of my favorite driver's assistance features when we were parked and just going through some of the different menus, but I want to talk and show a little bit about how they perform when you're in action, so when you're in motion, because everything in this vehicle can actually be controlled by the driver, but also by the passenger. So it works both ways, which is something I really like. So obviously when you take a look at the greater setup, I'm going to focus on this area here right now, is these buttons, they look like they're flush on the dash, and they are, but they still provide a little bit of haptic feedback as you touch them. And from them, you can still quick jump into all of your main features, whether it be in-house navigation or also when you are set up with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And then you can quick jump back into home, set a favorites button, everything like that. Now, down here, I think is where people can sometimes get confused. They're like, oh my goodness, I can't necessarily reach this climate screen. But you can still do everything from down here, and you can even use it with your virtual assistant. So I can still easily adjust the temperature, increase it or decrease it, increase or adjust the fan speed, change the direction of the fan, and then of course we have multi-zone, so even the passenger side, my temperature, Gabby's temperature, and then also from the rear.
I'm glad you brought that up, actually, sorry, because everyone keeps talking about this 5-inch panel here and how it's not visible at all by the driver because of the steering wheel. And that's valid. I can't actually see everything that's going on there, but the reason why it's placed there is, number one, the passenger can access it. And also, if I hit this plus icon here and my eyes are still on the road, I'm focused, I can go in and make finer tune changes. Now, a majority of the things you'd want to change anyway are actually accessible from these toggles, but again, you can always go into this menu and do it manually, or even use your voice commands.
Yeah,
so
which
you can do everything
I think
with voice
really
commands
cool.
here. Yeah.
So overall, it is pretty easy to use, even though it looks really different. And I feel like the climate control is probably the biggest bone of contention people have when they look at this.
Yeah.
But everything that you really can access where you need it. Another one of my absolute favorite features is new for Kia with this updated software, and that is the included search function. So basically what this does,
I like how it gives you the warning, like it's only utilized by passengers if you're actually going to type something. If not, you should use the voice function.
Yeah, definitely. So because I'm in the passenger seat, I can do that today. Woohoo! But that search function, not only can I look for points of interest, so actual addresses, but I can also search for contacts, I can search for media, I can actually search for features. So if I want to do something about this blue ambient lighting that I have in the car, I can actually search ambient lighting.
If I change that.
Yeah, do you want pink?
So everything can really be done on the fly.
Yeah, so not only is it going to give me different things, but also set up, adjust ambient lighting. And then from here, I can go and change the color.
Cool. There's a lot of tech on this car. A lot, really.
Which can be intimidating.
Yeah, but the tech's not just for the comfort and the overall cabin experience, it's also for the drive. There's a lot of advanced safety functions on the vehicle that are truly, truly impressive. There is a heads-up display, which we'll include a shot of because you can't see it unless you're the driver, which again minimizes distractions in the rest of the cabin. The steering wheel itself is beautifully heated and leather wrapped, and you get an illuminated emblem for your Kia badge in the very center, which is a small thing, but makes a nice difference.
It feels so luxe.
Yeah, it feels nice. You also have everything you need and more within the driver's fingertips, so your voice commands, your Bluetooth, your phone, and even your volume controls with including a mute function are all going to be on the right side, and then separated is going to be actual driver assistance functions. So some manufacturers kind of combine everything on either side, so you'd have volume on one toggle and then right underneath you have something completely different. It doesn't even make sense. Kia makes it make sense. It's driver friendly.
It's
so
like one side each.
Exactly, it's separated. On the left side you have your smart cruise control button, so because we're in the country there's not a recognized like highway speed limit, if that makes sense, or interchanges, that kind of thing. So it's going to go based off the speed of the car ahead of me and always maintain a safe distance. I can change the following distance between 4 presets, and the reaction timing is actually very, very human-like for an automated system.
But you can adjust that too.
Yes, you can adjust it. So you can make the acceleration even quicker if you'd like, the reaction timing a little bit more responsive or slower based off whatever you prefer. And all of that's configured within your settings, but turned on through the steering wheel. So you don't actually have to dig through anything to turn these functions on. There's also gentle steering assistance too. So right now we're on a country road, meaning we only have a one painted line in the very center. But if I were to approach closer to the car ahead of me, it'll actually follow the movements of them to make sure I'm centered, even though there's no 2 lanes to for the vehicle to measure
Differentiate
off of.
between.
Yeah. Drive and train modes are down here. I spoke about that briefly earlier, so that's very nice to have. Train modes essentially just change the all-wheel drive torque distribution between the front and rear motor, and also the stability control of the car. It will change your range a bit, but they're meant to be used only for those terrains, so definitely don't drive in mud mode if you're on a beautiful
sunny day like today.
Yes, exactly. Another thing I really do like is the capability of adjusting the regenerative braking system on the fly.
I was gonna say, are those paddle shifters on an EV?
Paddle shifters on an EV.
What are they doing there?
So right behind are media and driving assistance controls. You may or may not be able to see them, but they're shifters. The one on the right is going to be to decrease the amount of regen, the one on the left will increase it. And essentially my higher level of regen is going to apply more of that regenerative braking force.
No way.
You got it. So similar to how you'd engine brake on a gasoline vehicle, you're gonna feel a little bit more of a pullback as I let off the throttle. So there's no one around, I'm just gonna lift my foot off the accelerator now, and my car is coming to not a complete halt right now because we're not on the full level, but it's decelerating quite rapidly. And that's on level 3. So level 1's obviously gonna have a much lighter brake force. The benefit of this is, number one, you're using less of your friction brakes, so you can extend the lifespan of your mechanical brakes on your vehicle, which is a nice bonus. We always love to see that. But also you're slowly building back a little bit of kinetic energy into the range of your vehicle, so the battery itself. So if you are only at a 50% capacity, you can actually maximize the amount that you're actually going to travel. This is phenomenal if you're someone who drives in stop and go traffic where you're constantly slowing down, coming to a halt. Because guys, think of all that energy you can restore.
Say, why not make the most of it? Like, even if you're on a hilly drive too, like make the most of it, get as much as you can when you're going down those hills, when you're coming to a stop, like get what you can out of your car.
Absolutely.
You paid the premium price for an electric vehicle, get the most out of it.
Absolutely get the most out of it. And now with that being said, you always want to make sure you still use your mechanical brakes. There's actually a way to shut off regen completely, so you can actually use those brakes to make sure they don't rust and rot. Because brakes, if you don't use them, you will lose them. Just nice to have.
Yeah, definitely. I want to talk about one of my favorite features. So we showed it briefly, but it's got to be the digital rear view mirror. So again, if you thought this vehicle needed one more camera,
it did.
There you go, we delivered. But this is something that's interesting because this is a people hauler. This is a hauler vehicle, it's huge. So if you do have people who are taller in the back, or if you're like me and you've driven with balloons in your car before, it can sometimes obstruct your rear view. But the nice thing is you can use this, and it actually gives you about 6 lanes or 6 parking spaces worth of feedback on either side. So it's very wide. But if you don't want to use it and if you don't like it, it's not like it takes away from your regular rear view mirror. It just is your regular rear view mirror with HomeLink. So it's not like it's, again, taking away from a feature. It's just something a little bit extra, a little bit more of a fun enhancement to make too.
There's a giant wasp in the car with us right now.
Huge bug.
Just want to point that out.
I'm terrified, personally.
Yeah.
I'm so scared.
Other than that, I will say the cabin, I mean, obviously I'm focused on driving, but what a comfortable feeling this cabin is. The driver's seat itself,
tell me about that.
Heated and cooled for both the front and even the second row seats actually. So you get multi-way control, especially in Canada. We got hot summers and cold winters. Why not have both functions for that?
Yeah.
But the driver's seat's a little bit extra special. You do get the massage function, which Charlotte mentioned a bit earlier, and it's phenomenal. It is so good. There's also another cool thing. Valet passenger seats.
It's like, why are you touching my arm?
I can fold Charlotte's seat in half if I wanted to while she's in here.
So do not drive this car with someone who's immature, and it's gonna mess with your seat.
Anyway, it's a lot of fun. The tech is so much fun in this car. The media system as well too, or the sound system I should say. Meridian, so it's a premium sound. Great. Yeah, I'm not a big...
Is that your expert opinion?
Well, okay,
it's great.
I'm not gonna lie. I am not a big music or sound person. Like, I'm not a sound freak or, I don't know. I just know if I turn it up and it's loud and it doesn't sound staticky, that's okay. That's good. And this is good for me. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't put it better myself. The nice thing is when you do have like a premium sound system in this vehicle too, is you are more so able to have a little bit more customization in your menu screens, which is something that I think is really cool. Which I'll see if I can go and slip into it. It'll be probably out here. Sound. So you'll see that we've got the controls here for premium sound, and really you can do some more customization. which I think is really, really sweet. So stereo imaging and immersion, so you can play around with that. And again, that is really only for the vehicles that do have this premium sound system in them. So different from the in-house. From here you can see the screen, and again, one of the changes that Kia has made with this different software is the fact that everything is so much bigger, even these smaller icons that are broken down. So say if I flip back to my middle screen, these are obviously a lot bigger, and you can move them around to, again, really customize it, not while I'm driving though. But even if I hit setup, I'm able to dip in, and you can see that there's so many bigger options too, easy to find everything. And again, if you're not even sure where to look or where to start, hit that search function. You may as well use it. It's there to help you, and I think it helps a lot with the learning curve that comes with a new vehicle with so much tech, specifically with an EV. EVs have so much tech as it is, and this really helps with learning curve. Helps mitigate it. Yeah, definitely.
Absolutely. All right, now to wrap this episode up, let's go through some quick fire facts about the EV9. We've both had a good amount of time actually long distance driving this car, so we've spent some time with it. Charlotte, what are some notable things about the vehicle?
Some notable things about this vehicle. It's electric. No, just
it
kidding.
is?
No way.
I thought it was just really quiet.
Yeah, it doesn't have an engine. So that's notable feature number 1. Tell me about the range on this thing.
Range, so this is the GT line land package, so it's the highest trim with the most equipment. That means it's gonna have a little bit less range than its lower trim lines. So it's 435 kilometers of pure electric range. However, based off how you drive, you can see it do better or worse.
Definitely. Some other notable features when it comes to tech, this is going to have all the bells and whistles this trim, such as that digital rear view mirror. It's got wireless phone charger, full wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. It's got heads-up display, which does work in conjunction with your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto when it comes to navigation, which is absolutely chef's kiss. You also have multi-zone climate control, so Gabi, me, and the rear, tri-zone if you will. You also in the rear are going to have rooftop mounted diffusing air vents, so if you're a parent and you've got kids in car seats, that's something you're going to absolutely love. Tell me about the drive though.
The drive is, again, phenomenal. You have to drive it for yourself to really get the feel for it though, of course, but let me tell you, for a vehicle of this size, it handles like a dream. It is extremely, extremely silky smooth. And I noticed with a lot of EVs, sometimes the drive can almost feel disconnected because of how quiet it is. It literally just feels like a method of transportation, which to its core it is. But this car has it's got a lot more going on that makes it special.
Definitely.
So it really is a pleasure to drive, if that makes sense. I'm really impressed with the way it handles, and like I said earlier in the episode, we've actually got to put this vehicle to the test. If you know me or this channel, you know I love power. The torque is instant on an EV, so that obviously makes me smile. And Charlotte, the drag coefficient is that of the Corvette C8. So the C8 body style Corvette and the EV9, which is a rectangle on wheels, has the same drag coefficient. So the body of this vehicle is meant to be extremely slippery. Air is going to channel over it, not drag through it. And you're going to get that best range possible thanks to all the research and design that went into making this car the way it is, which is surprisingly square.
It's hip to be square. And
I guess it is.
So not only do you get great range, great tech and safety features, you get a really good look on the exterior too. You get tons of space on the interior, and you really get a modular configuration because it is that nice big rectangle shape, tons of space. I think that this vehicle is so impressive, especially when you consider it against some of its gas counterparts, especially when you consider it against other electric three-row SUVs. I think this one really stands out, and this is the one that's going to be worth your money.
Absolutely. Well, shall we end off our drive today, Charlotte?
I guess we should probably get back to work, right?
Probably. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If this is your first Kia Hyundai channel video, check out the rest of the videos we've done. You won't believe what we film here.
We'll make sure that we have our EV9 playlist linked down below. Also, if you want to see us go through that slalom course and how this vehicle holds up going on an 1,800 kilometer road trip, we have all of those videos on our channel, and we would love if you guys check them out. But we'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.
To get out of here. Like
I'm
that
freaking
Hornet
horrified.